Aurillac, Occitan. Orlhac is a French commune, capital of the Cantal department, in the Auvergne region of south-central France. The inhabitants of the commune are known as Aurillacois or Aurillacoises. The commune has been awarded 3 flowers by the National Council of Towns and Villages in Bloom in the competition of cities and villages in Bloom. Geography. Aurillac is at 600 meters above sea level and located at the foot of the Cantal mountains in a small sedimentary basin. The city is built on the banks of the Jordan, a tributary of the Sea. It is 558 kilometers south of Paris and 223 kilometers north of Toulouse. Aurillac was part of a former Auvergne province called Auvergne and is only 20 kilometers away from the heart of the Auvergne Volcano Park. Access to the commune is by numerous roads, including the D922 from Nauchels in the north, the D17 from Saint-Simon in the northeast, Route Nationale N122 from Orlhac in the east which continues to Sansac-de-Marmissa in the southwest, the D922 to Arpajon-sur-Sia in the southeast, and the D18 to Aurillac in the west. The Figueres-Carvant railway passes through the commune with a station in the center of town, but there is no TGV service. About 50% of the commune is urbanized with farmland to the east and west of the urban area. Aurillac-Tronquières Airport is located in the south of the commune with its runway extending beyond the commune boundary. It is connected to Paris by 2 daily flights by the Air France subsidiary HOP. The Jordan River flows through the heart of the commune from north to south where it joins the Sia just south of the commune. Localities and districts. Boudiou on the N122, which is called the Route de Sansac-de-Marmissa à Toulouse, is a farm with a farmhouse from the 1900s and 3 farm buildings. Boudiou Bar on the N122 is a set of houses built in the 1960s with some buildings used commercially for crafts. Garrett on the N122 is a farm with 2 houses and 2 agricultural buildings. This hamlet is traversed by an old country road from a place formerly called Julian, from which name for the SNCF Julian Bridge comes. The former Julian is towards the Château of Tronquières in the urban area on Avenue Charles de Gaulle opposite the Medico-Surgical Center. This farm with its house and barn were absorbed by the city on the creation of a district in the 1970s until the mid-1980s. The agricultural buildings were demolished to make room for a shop. Le Sable on the RN 122 is a set of dwellings mostly from the 1980s. Originally there was a farm. This place spreads over 2 communes, Aurillac and Arpajon-sur-Sia, with the majority of the buildings in Arpajon-sur-Sia. Le Baron near the Avenue Aristide Briand, also called the Ancienne Route de Vicar, the old N120. This is a farm and houses. Les Quatre Chemins at the intersection of the D120 and the D922 on the borders of Aurillac, Nauchels, and Aurillac. It is a complex of commercial buildings and residences on the crossroads of the 2 former national highways. Tronquières on an avenue. Originally it was a farm with a chateau, but the chateau and outbuildings were demolished in 2011. Today it is a grouping of housing units, specializing in housing assistance for the integration of disabled people and the airport. It is the reception area for travelers to the city and a former landfill and rubbish center. Before the construction of the airport, the meadows were areas for summer grazing for nearby farms such as the Boudiou farm. Neighboring communes and villages. Climate. Aurillac has an oceanic climate with cold winters and hot summers due to its distance from the ocean. Rainfall, however, is abundant with 1,174 mm in 130 days per year with precipitation. Snow is common and sometimes abundant with 31 snow days per year, and during some snowfalls the quantity of snow can be high. Frost is very common with 80 days of frost per year, with the period of freezing frequently extending from October to May. Despite its altitude, Aurillac still has 8 days of high temperatures. Days with heavy frosts are frequent. The city also has 2,118 sunshine hours per year. The record low temperature was -24.5 degrees Celsius on the 9th of January 1985, and the record high was 38.0 degrees Celsius on the 30th of July 1983. Toponymy. The origin of the name Aurillac is from Aurillac, meaning villa of Aurelius, and dates back to the Gallo-Roman era. It is attested in the polygonal Fanum di Aaron, which was built in the 1st century and discovered in 1977 at l'Escudella. History. It is thought that in the Gallic era the original site of the city was on the heights overlooking the current city at Saint-Jean-de-Dun, and, like most oppida, it was abandoned after the Roman conquest in favor of a new city established on the plain. With the return of instability in the Lower Roman Empire, there was a movement towards encastellation, and a new fortified site was established in mid-slope between the former oppidum and the old Gallo-Roman city, where the Chateau of Saint-Étienne is today. The history of the city is really only known from 856, the year of the birth of Count Gerald of Aurillac at the castle where his father, also named Gerald, was lord. In 885 he founded a Benedictine monastery which later bore his name. It was in this monastery that Gerbert, the first French pope under the name of Sylvester II, studied. The city was made in a Sauvette area which was located between 4 crosses, and was founded in 898 by Gerald shortly after the abbey. The first urban area was circular and built close to the abbey of Aurillac. Gerald died around 910, but his influence was such that over the centuries Gerald was always a baptismal name prevalent in the population of Aurillac and the surrounding area. It was in the 13th century that municipal conflict began between consuls and abbots. After taking the Chateau of Saint-Étienne in 1255 and 2 negotiated agreements called the Peace of Aurillac, relations were normalized. In the 13th and 14th centuries Aurillac withstood several sieges by the English, and in the 16th century continued to suffer from civil and religious wars. The influence of the abbey declined with its secularization and its implementation of orders. In 1569 the city was delivered by treason to the Protestants. People were tortured and held to ransom, and the abbey was sacked. The library and archives were all burned. Before the French Revolution, Aurillac had a précédent and carried the title of capital of the Haute-Auvergne. In 1790, on the creation of departments, after a period of alternating with Saint-Flour, Aurillac definitively became the capital of Cantal. The arrival of the railway in 1866 accelerated the development of the city. At the first census in 1759 there were 6,268 people in Aurillac. It now has about 28,000. Heraldry, politics and administration. Cantons. Aurillac is the capital of the department of Cantal and of the arrondissement of Aurillac, as well as for 4 cantons. First canton of Aurillac, 8,600 pop. Solely from the city of Aurillac. Second canton of Aurillac, 4,254 pop. Aurillac and 3 other communes. Third canton of Aurillac, 9,756 pop. Solely from the city of Aurillac. Fourth canton of Aurillac, 6,031 pop. Aurillac and 9 other communes. Administration list of successive mayors from 1941. Twinning. Aurillac has twinning associations with Bocholt since 1972. Basset Law since 1980. Bougouni since 1985. Altia since 1992. Vorona since 2000. Demography. In 2010 the commune had 27,924 inhabitants. The evolution of the number of inhabitants is known from the population censuses conducted in the commune since 1793. For the 21st century, a census of communes with fewer than 10,000 inhabitants is held every 5 years, unlike larger towns that have a sample survey every year. Population change sources: LDHEHESS Cassini until 1962, INSEE database from 1968. Economy. Aurillac is the seat of the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Cantal, which manages commercial villages. Aurillac Airport is managed by the CABA. Shops. Aurillac has hundreds of boutiques, shops, and artisans. Industry: processing of agricultural products, particularly milk and meat. Manufacturing and packaging of Cantal cheese. Historic French capital of umbrellas with half of French production, 250,000 units in 1999, and provides 100 jobs. After declining for several decades at the end of the 20th century, Aurillac umbrella producers decided to join the forces and created the Economic Interest Group, OGI, in 1997. They then launched the products under a single label, La Aurillac Parapluie. Aurillac is also the seat of what was the European leader in healthcare duvets and pillows. Abbé and the Plastigist Aurillac specializes in injection and electroplating. Also found in Aurillac are different players in various food fields. Aurillac is best known for its cheese centre based on the heights of Aurillac close to the Château Saint-Étienne. It was established in 1993. The structure consists of an association bringing together many organizations to develop scientific programs. It develops scientific programs relating to the cheese sector. Data processing. Aurillac hosts several websites, video games with JexVideo.com, trucks with NetTruck, aeronautical accessories with Aerodiscount. Aurillac has also been the headquarters of the ERP vendor Qualier since 1979. Culture and heritage. The commune has a very large number of buildings and structures that are registered as historical monuments. For a complete list, click here. There are also a very large number of items which are registered as historical objects in various locations. For a complete list, click here. Civil heritage. Some of the most interesting sites are the Château of Saint-Étienne, which overlooks the city, the Aurillac National Stud, the Musée des Volcans at the Château Saint-Étienne, the Musée d'Art et d'Archéologie d'Aurillac, 37 Rue des Carmes, the former Consul's House, the former Présidel, the former Jesuit College, the Palace of Justice, the prison, the police station, the town hall, the prefecture. Religious heritage. The commune has several religious buildings and structures that are registered as historical monuments. The Abbey Saint-Gerard. The abbey has several items that are registered as historical objects. The organ, the instrumental part of the organ, a reliquary of Saint Blaise, a reliquary of Saint Benoit, a reliquary of Saint Odin. The Church of Notre-Dame-aux-Neiges. The chapel contains a large number of items which are registered as historical objects. A complete list can be seen here. The Church of Sacré-Cœur. The chapel has one group of items that is registered as an historical object: interior decor, stained glass reliefs, paintings, and mosaics. The Chapel of Aurillac. The chapel has a number of items that are registered as historical objects: a bronze bell, an ex-voto painting, procession of acts of grace, an ex-voto painting, deliverance of the town, an ex-voto painting, attack on the town, a glass wall, Virgin and Child, the Church of St. Joseph Aurillac. Facilities. Cultural facilities. Aurillac has several dance centers, folk dancing, dances and singers from the Auvergne School, Conservatory, National School of Music and Dance of Aurillac, Arabesque, Katibadi Dance School, Modern Jazz and Classical Courage Dance School, Le Manufacture, a higher center of dance, movement, and images created by Vendetta Mathia. Society of Upper Auvergne, a society of letters, sciences and arts, La Haute Auvergne. Theatre 4, Rue de la Costa next to the Consul's house. La Prisma, conference rooms and entertainment, cultural events and festivities. The International Festival of Street Theatre of Aurillac has been held every year since 1986 at the end of August, for a period of 4 days. Since 2004 this festival has been preceded by Les Préalables of variable duration with street performances throughout Cantal with the support of the Association Eclat. 2008, who inaugurated the first University of Street Art, the European Gourmet Taste for 3 days in June is a gastronomic and cultural festival during which various prizes are awarded, and where there are cooking classes with different themes each year provided by prominent chefs. In 2007 there was the first edition of 36 Hours of Aurillac with solos and small dance pieces. Sports. The Stade Aurillacois Cantal Auvergne. The rugby team had its 100th anniversary in 2004 and has played in Rugby Pro D2 since 2001, except for 2006-2007 where the Purgatory in Fédéral 1 ended with the title of Champion of France. Since the Second World War the club has always played either in the elite until 1986, then later in Group A, B, or Pro D2. Aurillac is rugby country as it is one of the few cities where there are more spectators at rugby matches than football matches. Matches take place at the Stade Jean Alric. The athletic club Vélocyclisme Aurillacois, a cycling team founded in 1977 by Pierre Labro and led, since 1983, by André Valadou. In 2011 and 2012 it was the largest cycling club in Auvergne by number of members. In 2013 3 riders from the club ranked at the highest level, with Christophe Laborie among the professionals and François Bidard and Pierre Bonnet, first in the amateur division. With a focus on training, the club sees at least one of its representatives each year wear Auvergne colours during a championship of France. The Aurillac FCA, a soccer team playing in CFA 2, although the Aurillac reserve team plays in DH Auvergne and is Team C in the regional honour division. Its training centre allows it to have 3 youth teams playing in the national championships. Aurillac Handball Cantal Auvergne, a professional handball team who played in the first division for the 2008-2009 season for the first time in its history. Basket Club Aurillac Aurillac. This is the Aurillac Basketball Club. Girls Team 1 plays at the highest regional level. This is the biggest club in the city in terms of members and results. There is also the Cantalian Club, the Jean Alric Stadium, the municipal stadium for the city of Aurillac, and its rugby club, the Stade Aurillacois Cantal Auvergne. It owes its name to Jean Alric, a former player of the club, shot in Aurillac by the Germans during the Second World War. Volleyball Club. Aurillac has a volleyball club. The senior male and female teams play in Regional 1. The club has UFOLEP teams and youth teams. The club organizes 3 tournaments open to everyone, a tournament starting in September, a night of volleyball in December, a summer tournament in June. In 2011, Aurillac hosted the start of the Tour de France in the 10th stage. Places of worship: St. Joseph Catholic Church, Reformed Church of France, 10 Rue des Frères d'Elmis, Evangelical Pentecostal Church, 6 Avenue des Pupilles de la Nation. Military: 2 military units are garrisoned in Aurillac: the 139th Infantry Regiment, 1906, the 216th Squadron of Riot Police, which became the 33/5th in 1991 after the creation of Legions of Riot Police, then finally the 18/5ths in 2011 after the dissolution of the GM Group of Clermont-Ferrand. Aurillac has long been a garrison town with the 139th Infantry Regiment, who are noted for the feats during the Battle of the Somme. They have the remarkable chronology, and a cabinet of trophies were displayed in the Hall of Honor of the departmental military delegation, who have since moved, forgetting to preserve and safeguard this part of history. The military square is wide in area and a feature of military architecture of the time. It is now known as the Zone of Peace and is now converted into a parking lot, leaving a clear view of the 3 buildings that surround it. The entrance to the barracks was destroyed and replaced by a modern building. It houses administrative services, treasury, CABA, mortgages, cadastre, etc. In the 1950s, the old military buildings became the Cité administrative. The clock building is called so because of the great clock that adorns this building. It is also commonly called the House of Unions and Associations. Originally, these buildings were the former convent of the Visitation, built in 1682. The convent was converted into a barracks for infantry in 1792 and occupied half of the buildings until 1922. Hence the transformation of buildings to equestrian use. Today the B.navez France Cultural Center occupies the premises, including the Museum of Art and Archaeology, the County Conservatory of Music and Dance, the youth service activities of the town of Aurillac, and a creche for children. The stables were then used by the National Stud established by Napoleon in 1806. A depot of stallions was created in Aurillac. At the Battle of Austerlitz, Napoleon rode Cantal, a speckled grey horse which is visible in a painting in the Art and Archaeology Museum. When the National Stud moved, the stables were transformed into an exhibition hall, gallery, and a range of exhibitions is held every year, including the Salon des Métiers d'Art de Aurillac. Notable people linked to the commune. Aurillac was the birthplace of St. Gerald of Aurillac, politician; Gerbert of Aurillac, mathematician; tutor to Hugues Capet, Pope under the name Sylvester II; William of Auvergne, theologian; Bishop of Paris, chaplain and minister for St. Louis; Jean Cinquebras, 1514–1587, Orientalist, principal of Fortit College, the professor of Hebrew and Syriac at the Royal College; Jean-Aimé Piganiol de la Force, geographer; Antoine Dulzens, MP; Louis Furcy-Gromnier, director of the Veterinary School of Lyon; Jean-Baptiste Carrier, bloodthirsty Republican revolutionary; Edouard Jean-Baptiste Milhard, cousin of Carrier, revolutionary, commissioner of the army, general of the Army of the Republic and the Empire, also known for his bloodthirsty actions; Alexis Joseph Dulzens, General of the Empire; Charles-Antoine Manhest, General of the Army of the Republic and the Empire; Arsène Le Carrier-Latour, engineer, architect, urban planner in Louisiana; Eloy Chapsel, painter and director of the Museum of Aurillac; Claude Sosthene Grasset Dorset, archaeologist, historian; Émile Duclaux, physician, chemist and biologist; Jules Rengade, doctor, medicine, novelist for children, scientific journalist; Francis Charmes, journalist, academic. Gerard Ravelhac, general. Paul Dumas, president of the Third Republic. Jean de Bonnefond, journalist, polygrapher. Pierre de Vazier, paleographic archivist, historian. Marie Marvin GT, an athlete, mountaineer, pioneer, medical evacuation pilot, and the most decorated woman in the history of France. Georges Monnet, agronomist, politician. Elie Calvet, comedian, first prize in comedy from the Conservatory, died on stage receiving his award. Nephew of the famous singer Rosa Emma Calvet. Bernard Tricot, Secretary General of the Élysée from 1967 to 1969. One of the negotiators of the Évian Accords with the Algerian FLN to abandon French Algeria. Jean-Benoît Puig, writer, author of La Bibliothèque d'un amateur. Louis-René Desforts, novel Une biographie auto-recée. Roland Chassagne, MP for Bauges-du-Rhône. Jean-Yves Hugon, a former MP for Indre. Alain Dulcamp, Secretary General for the Senate. Olivier Magnat, international rugby player. Jacques Maziel, Minister of Construction under de Gaulle. President Director General of Radio Monte Carlo. Jean-Philippe Sol, international volleyball player. Sébastien Pissavi, founder of the Jexvideo.com website. Elia Pons, filmmaker, linked to Aurillac. François Maynard, poet, one of the first members of the Académie Française. Abel Beaufrère, Alfred Durand, professor of geography at the Aurillac School, author of La vie rurale dans les massifs volcaniques des Dours, du Césalia, du Cantal et de la Aubrac, thesis, 1946, Clermont-Ferrand, 530p, Aurillac, Géographie urbaine, 1948, 254 pp. Marcel Gros-Didier de Matins, professor of geography at the Aurillac School, author of Études de géographie urbaine, Le Châtaigneraie cantalienne. Maxime Riel del Sartre and Jean de Barras did the military service at Aurillac. Pierre Worth, professor at Aurillac School, author of Aurillac 1973, Voyage à travers la Haute-Auvergne 1973, Le Guide du Cantal 1994. Joseph Malik, much of his novel of 900 pages, Augustin à la Maîtresse, takes place mainly in Aurillac. Under the table of Augustin is life in a prefecture of the province, which is actually Aurillac.